Hi everyone, welcome to Seattle Celtic's podcast. Today we're going to be speaking to two footballers from the women's side at Washington University, otherwise known as UW. Myself and Ethan are going to go through their careers, and we're going to try get some detail and insight into the career of a college footballer or soccer player. So girls, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Sure. Hi, I'm Margaux. I'm from Northern California, and I'm a freshman at UW.
I'm Makena. I'm from Renton, Washington, and I am a sophomore at UW.
Deadly. Thank you very much. So the girls obviously coach with Seattle Celtic at the moment and have pretty impressive playing careers. So we're going to get straight into the interview. So I'd like to ask you both to give us a brief description of your soccer career today as players.
Yeah, so I started playing soccer when I lived in Southern California. So I played for a club called South Bay Force. Moved to Northern California, played for La Miranda from U10 to U19, and now I'm at UW. That's pretty much it.
For me, I started playing soccer when I was 5. Went through the rec and select programs, and then started playing for Eastside FC near Snoqualmie area. And at first, I actually wasn't on the top team. I was actually not even on the second team. I was actually on the third team. And then eventually, throughout my career at Eastside, I was there actually all 9 years, and eventually played at the top team at Eastside. And then now I'm here at UW.
Very good. No, really impressive, and I suppose brilliant to hear the background. And now Ethan is going to go into a little bit more detail about
Yes, so I suppose we'll go straight onto your time in college. And I suppose question I'm interested in, how you kind of balance your academic studies, trying to keep them up to grade as well as kind of perform on the pitch at the same time. Sure, it's tough to juggle, but I suppose how do you do that and how do you manage that? Maybe we might start with Margaux and then Kenna can jump in.
I think if you go through like playing when you're young, like you've done it your whole life. Like I really have played soccer so long, I don't remember a time before soccer. So it's never like I suddenly got to this level and now I have to start adjusting. Like you work on like time management for years and years and years, and it's seemed pretty smooth.
No, I agree 100%. My practices were in the evening, so it was about getting on to my homework right after school before practice, because I would end around 9. Practices were about half an hour away, so I'd get home probably about like 10 maybe. And then after that, I'd be tired, I'd need to eat dinner and then go to sleep. So like Margaux was saying, it's just we learned how to balance school and soccer before even getting to college.
I think if anything, like getting to school, I had a lot more time because in college you don't have to spend as much time in class. So
what would a day of, I suppose you train every day maybe? So do you get up in the morning, train, and then go to college, or what way does it work?
You want to start, McKenna?
Sure. Well, okay. We at UW, we train in the winter. We actually train really early in the morning, like 7 a.m. So we'd get up early, like 5:30, train at 7. Then we would either just have training or we would have training and weights. So it depends at like the time that we end. But then after that, then we just have the rest of the day to ourselves to like focus on schoolwork. So that was just our schedule, like every single day in the winter.
So I was lucky enough to, I think last year I got to go, and I looked every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Before you played Seattle Rain, I was down looking at training, so to see how it ran. So I was very professional. I was impressed as well. Like you were playing, McKenna, maybe still. I'm not sure, Margaux, you were playing, but
I definitely was not. I tore my ACL last March, so I had been out.
Yeah. I suppose the question I had is there's kind of two in one, but the first one was, and it was interesting hearing that McKenna could have played for a third team and a second team at the start of your career. So I suppose for you, when did soccer become something that you've seen as really important to you in terms of elite level? Like, when did you think, okay, this is going to be something, I'm not just playing for fun, I'm also playing at a high level, and I might have to match it with my school as well?
Um, ooh. I would say, I came to that point probably somewhere in middle school. I was also playing basketball at the time, so and for an AAU basketball team in Bellevue. So I was having those hard conversations with my parents, whether even before like entering high school, it's hard to balance like that transition from middle school to high school, balancing school and soccer, because once you get to high school, like your academics really matter. So I came to that point where I was just like, okay, I need to choose between soccer and basketball. And at that point, I was just like, I'm having so much more fun in soccer. I feel like I can like go further with soccer. Basketball is like, maybe I'm like kind of short. We'll see. But I enjoyed soccer a lot more, and so I came to that point in middle school.
Oh, deadly. And Margaux, probably same question to yourself.
I feel like I never had that moment where I was on like a lower team. I remember transitioning from like rec to club and being like the worst player on my team. I really only made that team because I was fast. But I don't know, I made a lot of improvement, and by the time I like moved up to Northern California, I was like one of the better players on my team, because I went from like a premier team in SoCal to a gold team that then moved up to premier a year later. But like, I don't know, I'd say if anything, like the difference in styles was in SoCal, it's like really fast and athletic, and like that's the focus, and like technical, whereas the club I went to was very possession oriented. But I don't know, I didn't really have that like coming from behind moment. If anything, I'm having that like right now, coming off of tearing my ACL and like being a freshman, the top program.
Oh, pretty interesting. And then from there, I suppose either one of you can take the lead on this one, but I'd love to hear opinions from both. Moving on then, what advice would you give young players or young girls that are looking to push on and play at that elite college level now that you have the experience, I suppose?
Margaux, you want to go?
Can't say I've had that much experience on the playing field, but I've kind of got to see a different side of it, and like how hard you have to work to like face adversity or whatever. And so I think when you're a young player wanting to like play soccer, obviously there's the whole recruiting process, which is an effort in itself, but like at the end of the day, it comes down to like how hard you work. And I think that's what coaches notice on the field. Like they notice the player chasing down the ball every time they see that sort of thing. And I think if you're working hard and you love soccer enough, a lot of other things will just sort of follow, whether it's technical, tactical. If you love it enough, work hard enough, it'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and I always tell my players, as well as working hard on the pitch, we don't have them for enough. We could have them 3 days a week, is still not enough. It's kind of what they do away from the pitch is really important too, and what they do in their own time. I think that what makes the difference, especially when you're competing for a spot against someone similar ability, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I would just say like utilizing your resources is huge. Like you have coaches, you have your parents who can also help you too, your teammates. And it's also like important, just if you want to play at that next level, just set your mind to it, never give up, work hard. And just always know that there's someone like competing for your spot. Last year I had a pretty good freshman year, but this my sophomore year I faced a little bit of adversity. I was starting in the beginning of season, and then after that, like halfway through, I got benched. I wasn't playing as much, but I didn't let that really get to me. It's more like a mindset. You just have to continue working hard, but just always know that there's someone competing for the same spot.
Just on that is, you know what you do, I suppose, with soccer, is there anything you do? I know there's physical, technical, tactical work. Is there anything you kind of do to work on the mental side of the game, either yourself or as a kind of club or a team?
Sorry, say that again?
I kind of got, can I go?
Yeah,
Go for it.
Right now, we have like a lot of like, we're doing Zoom sessions just like Celtic is and whatnot, but we have actually like a mental coach, soccer coach come in, I guess, once a week. We're doing sessions with him and like how like filling out like in the beginning of the week how to like prep your goal, like what are your goals and stuff, and like also in those goals thinking about like if you struggle, how are you going to like approach them, like positive self-talk, those sorts of things. And at the end of the week talking about like recapping on your goals and whatnot. So at the moment, yes, working on the mental game.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I think people forget about how important that is, and it drives the other three aspects of the game too.
100%. Moving on from there, then I suppose you just mentioned it, so we may as well get onto it. But doing your Zoom sessions with Seattle Celtic, we had to ask you, how have you found the transition from playing to coaching? And I suppose, are you enjoying the beginning of your coaching career, or is there much background there before Seattle Celtic? Makena, if you want to start on that, and then Margaux will get you as well.
Sure. I'm enjoying it a lot. Going from playing to coaching, I guess I'm also learning as well. So that's pretty exciting, I guess. I love learning new things. So I mean that's the biggest thing for me. I'm just constantly learning new things, and whatever, like maybe I'm coaching, I'm like, oh, like I can apply this to, when I'm training or, in the games or whatever. But it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Do you find, actually, before we ask Margaux, I was going to say, do either of you find that it's actually had an effect on your playing career? Do you look at training sessions differently now, or coaches, now that when you go back to playing, or would that have an effect at all?
Mm-hmm. I think so. Like
Definitely.
even if it's not like evident or obvious, I can still take like the small things from what I'm coaching to, and get creative, improvise, whatever, and put it into like my training in games.
100%. And yourself, Margaux?
I'll answer your second question first, which about like help noticing it in my play. I have coached for a while, so I think I've always had that like aspect of being conscientious about what you do, because you're seeing it from a coach's perspective and what they're seeing, and then you go take it to the players and you're like running through the things that they might be telling you, but like in your head, I don't know, you're more conscientious about that. And I think lately, if anything, it's helped me like planning out practices and stuff like for myself now, because we're all separate. We've got to do work training on our own. So being creative with the drills I come up with. So that's kind of where I noticed it at the moment. As far as coaching goes, I came from a really small club. And so pretty much like as soon as you can, you're like helping out in the club whatever way you can. So like when I was younger, like it'd be U12 coaching like U10 players, like clinics and stuff. And then because it's small, as I got older, I like took on more of like roles from like administrative stuff, taking over teams when a coach couldn't be there. So like one of the coaches went on maternity leave, so I took over her U12 team in the middle of state cup, which was really stressful, but yeah.
I think I was coaching as I was playing as well, kind of, and it definitely helped me in my playing game, because some things I'm telling my players, I'm like, okay, I'm not doing that either on the pitch, and it kind of gets you thinking a different way as well. So I definitely encourage people to get into coaching, even at any level, kind of get you to think about the game in a different way too. I suppose we'll finish off the final question, so you can go get your dinner. What's your, I suppose, favorite or best moments or memories in your career to date? Is there anything that sticks out at the top of your head, or I suppose whoever wants to go first there can jump at it.
Margaux?
Don't be modest.
Okay, there's like a few moments that like they weren't necessarily particular, like they weren't a game that was like winning a tournament or something like that. Like one of the games was like against one of our rival teams, and it was quite a good team. And I remember just like it was like technically like the worst game of my life. Like I just like could not connect a pass, but at the same time like I was just chasing down the ball every chance I got, and like we ended up winning like 5-4, which is just an insane amount of goals to be scored in a game. And like I got a hat trick and 2 assists that game, so like all 5 goals. Like, but it wasn't because I was playing well. I just was like worked really hard for it. And I just remember that feeling of like laying down, like I was laying down on the field at the end of the game, like it worked. Like, I don't
I
know,
love that.
good
I love
feeling.
that.
Can't beat
I
no
love that.
For me, so 2 categories. I have one with like the team, and then I have one just individual. Team wise, I would say this past season with UW, getting third in the Pac-12. I think that was huge for us because I think we tied with who was it? Was it UCLA?
USC, UCLA,
tied
USC,
with-
UCLA above
yeah,
us.
those are top schools in the nation. So I was super excited and proud of our team, and that was a big success for us. And then individually, I would say in the game against WSU, when
Oh, I
yeah,
Margaux's laughing
in
here.
the last 10 minutes of the game, a teammate of mine just slotted me a ball and then took it into the box, drew the penalty, and we scored the goal and we ended up winning the game 1-0, and that was the first time in like 15-16 years since we beat WSU, and so it was
That
huge
scenes.
game.
like
I would
I
I
just
think I was
watched.
at that game, by the way. I think that was my first game here. Would that be right? Was that the home ground?
yeah.
Yeah. I think I had said that to you before. That was my first YouTube game here. I just
Oh,
arrived, and I
really?
remember. Yeah.
I
Mad
was just
stuff.
watching that on for our film for our team, and I was like watching it. Makena, such a good play. I was just like sitting there like, damn, I'm so proud of her.
Thank you, Margaux. Yeah, it was
Love that.
big.
Yeah, mad. I suppose. Well, girls, thank you very much for your time. For the listeners who will be listening back, some unbelievable, I suppose, insight into what it's like to be a college footballer or soccer player at the elite level on the women's side. Some really impressive stories in terms of both playing and coaching careers. Really appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, from me and Ethan, brilliant to hear from us, and hopefully the listeners will really enjoy as well. Other than that, Ito, anything to add?
No, just thanks very much, and hopefully we can get back on the pitch soon. Because I'm gonna go mad if not, to be honest.
100%.
Definitely.
100%.
No, thanks very much, girls, and
Thank you.
um,
Thank you for having us.
no problem. Pleasure.
All right. Chat to you soon, girls. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Thanks again.
Bye bye.
Just for everyone listening, that's the girls, Margaux, Clarke, and Makena Carr from YouTube women's soccer team, and then obviously, even more importantly, Seattle Celtic coaches. But really brilliant to listen to them today, and thank you everyone for listening.